Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Beast Boy Rolf, and welcome to Phobia Season 7. This season is Toxophobia. There are a lot of aspects to this game mode, and a lot of them are kinda gonna be easy to avoid, and none of them are overly deadly, more of a nuisance than anything. But we do have to watch out for a few things. We'll go through those as we hit them. The first one will be grass. As you can see there, it causes nausea too. It's only if you walk through it. I don't think we're testing that right now. Okay, so it's only if you walk through a single block of grass. It doesn't stick with you, which is good to know. Nausea is a nuisance, as I just said. Another nuisance will be weakness and slowness, which are given by certain mobs. I believe, I want to say zombies and skeletons. Also, those mobs, along with spiders and any other hostile mob, will have the chance to drop a splash potion of poison. Not drop it on us, but just drop the item itself. And, I really hope that doesn't set the forest on fire, otherwise I will have to run pretty quick. That lava is obnoxiously loud, so I'm gonna stay over here. So yeah, that chance is 1 in 100, so hopefully we'll kill a few mobs for some poison pots. We're gonna see how that goes. And, the last big thing is water. Well, actually, no, it isn't. The second to last big thing is water, where if you stand in water for 3 seconds or more, or walk through it, or try and run through it, swim upstream, swim downstream, if you're in it for 3 seconds or more, you will get weakness. If you're in it for 6 seconds or more, you will get slowness, I believe. And if you're in it for 9 seconds or more, you will be poisoned. Last thing to mention is food. If you eat raw food, it will more than likely give you nausea, I believe. And you have a chance, I'm not sure what the chance is, but a chance that if you eat raw food of any kind, you will possibly be poisoned from it. And if you eat a regular red apple, you will be poisoned 100% of the time. So we got most of the bases covered. Hopefully we're going to start soon, because I've run out of things to say before this game starts. I really hope this lava doesn't become an issue. I don't think... it looks like Tommy might have some issues in terms of playing. Not sure what's going on there. Hopefully everything's okay in that front. So yeah. What to talk about. I suppose we can talk about the road leading up to Season 7 for Phobia. And we'll also talk about personal life for me. My personal life for me, personally. Just scared the shit out of me. I didn't think I got one out of the zone. Oh, Tommy can play. Perfect. Okay. Just having a headset. A few things have happened in my personal life that we'll go into detail about. For some teasers, we're going to be talking about the surgery I had on my eyes. I had LASIK surgery to correct my poor vision. And on top of that, I've started collecting NASCAR diecasts on a more adult level. I'll go into detail about that as well. And I got a job working for Lowe's Home Improvement. So I'll be talking about that as well. What else to talk about? The baseball season, I suppose we'll talk about. NASCAR in general, outside of diecasts. So these are just some things we'll talk about. Maybe I'll make one exclusive to every episode, and Hi, zombie. Oh, shit. Okay. I wasn't going to attempt to talk over the zombies because they were incredibly loud. So yeah, let's see. Quick recap for my own brain is... oop, son of a bitch. LASIK, diecast, new job, baseball season. Yeah, we'll stick with that. This is an hour and 40-minute game, followed by Meetup. So it's about 20 minutes shorter than the average record round that I play personally. And yeah, so we'll talk about a few things. I suppose we'll talk about, as on top of everything else, the recorder rounds I'm in recently or have been in, and just talk about some other activity. Hopefully I'll be accurate and not spoil anything as of the release date. I will be editing that if it happens. I think we'll get out of this root forest if as soon as I can. Possibly move that way towards the plains. I see some reeds there. I'm gonna grab those along the way. It's a cool little cove in here. Yeah, so, yeah, we'll go that way. It's turning nighttime. This is gonna be a long first episode for me, because I'm just sitting here like an idiot. So yeah, I suppose we'll talk about Phobia and where we are in the record round, along with a few other things about it. So as you know, we are now recording Season 7. We will be viewing Season 7, and I just set myself on fire again. And it's been a long journey to Season 7, about 9 months, maybe a little more than that. I'm not sure, because it's just been so long. But it has been a journey nonetheless. Not a journey I would do again if if it takes this long ever again. I am probably just going to be done, because it's unnecessary. But that's really at the fault of no one, because there's just certain aspects about the game mode we were trying to do that just didn't work out, and it was a deal where we were in over our head. We'll talk about that in this first episode as soon as we... and then we'll... Okay, we're about to start. So, the game mode we were... The game mode we were attempting to go with was known as Barophobia. Barophobia is fear of something, fear of no gravity or something along that. But it was an upside-down world. And much to the efforts of Sid Garcia, the master that he is, he tried his best, and it just didn't work out the way it was meant to. It was extremely difficult. I gave him the props that he did everything in his power to make the game mode work, but it just was not very. Oh, the game has begun. It just wasn't a successful endeavor by many senses. Remember, water, if I stay in it for longer than a certain amount of time, I will get slowness or weakness. I forget which is the first. But yeah, out of respect for him, I'm not going to mention any more of it. Outside of, it was a long process, and it just didn't work out. So we've quickly scrambled together a new game mode, and it works for me, and it works for a lot of people, I think. So we'll just have to hope that it works out. And I think it will, because it's a fairly simplistic sort of plugin. So, here we are in... Nice, Tommy. So, the first topic I guess we'll talk about is, I can't even remember the topics I wanted to talk about. I guess we'll start with my eye surgery, since it's a long, perilous explanation, and doing it while caving will not be very interesting. So, I'm sure some of you were or are aware, you definitely are aware now, but since I was 4 years old, I had been wearing prescription glasses because my vision was degrading. So I don't really remember a time until the surgery where I was able to see properly, clearly without my glasses. So that's how much of an impact it would have on my life. I decided at the age of 20 or 19, around there, that I was going to have the surgery. Unfortunately, the best institute in my area, which is about a half an hour away from me, St. Luke's Eye Institute for cataract and lasers, they did not do the surgery on those younger than 21, because at that point your eyes are still developing, and they really don't want to do it that early, because if they do that surgery, your eyes are likely to degrade, not back to the state at which they were in, but I swear to God, I keep hearing footsteps. Not to the state at which they were in, but not to the satisfaction of the surgeon nor the patient. So that was something I had to take into consideration, and they basically said, come back to us when you're 21, and that's what I did. About 2 months after I turned 21. Actually, is there a... I don't see any food. And in December of 2015, I decided, alright, we're going to do this. But I had to see if I was an eligible candidate. The eligibility tests, or tests thereof, TESTS, many tests, were given to me to see if I was an eligible candidate for... Oh, there's Cack and Tease. Hey! that was... Anyways, cat can tease his first damage, so that's always pleasant. Where was I? So, the eligibility tests were few... Alright, let's turn down friendly creatures to about 70%. Let's turn down the master volume to about 53%. Let's see how that sounds. Alright, still a little too loud, so we'll turn that down to 60. So, the test went through, and they gave me the results immediately. And the results came back that I had a thick corneal wall. My cornea is very thick for the average, and that made me an excellent candidate for surgery. So obviously I was hesitant because I do not like having my eyes messed with in any way, shape, or form. But I decided to go through with it. The time leading up to the surgery, which was about 3 weeks or 4 weeks, somewhere in that range, was intense. Not intense. It was tense maybe the last 2 days, wearing glasses, knowing that I was never going to wear them again. At least of that prescription. We'll get to that later, what that means. But the day of the surgery, I was nervous. My father from Connecticut came down to visit, and he was kind enough to pay for the surgery, so thank you, Dad. And I had to wait in the waiting room for about 4 hours because there were people ahead of me for the same surgery. They did the surgery on certain days and scheduled multiple people at a time. The doctor who did my surgery, Dr. Howard, has performed over 3,000. It's either 3,000 or 30,000. I'm saying 3,000 because it sounds a lot less It sounds a lot less impressive, but it also sounds a lot less crazy. So that's why I'm sticking with 3,000. So that made me very dependable on him. The bill for the surgery was not covered by insurance. Paid completely out of pocket, again, but to my dad, thank you. And the bill came up to $5,200. $5,200. And at this point, it's been worth every single penny. They gave me a Valium, which is a muscle relaxer, as well as a nerve relaxer to calm me down, as they give to many of the patients. Unfortunately, it did not have much effect on me as soon as I lay down on the table. I'm gonna warn everyone right now, we're probably about 8 minutes in. I will give you a timestamp to skip because I'm about to get very graphic here, and it might freak some people out about the surgery itself if you have not seen it on video. I am about to describe it as it was. So, last warning. Alright, with them gone, they laid me down on a table and basically said, we're going to put a suction on each of your eyes and cut so we can put enough pressure to raise the cornea above your pupil, and from there we're going to cut it with a laser. Very evasive surgery, which I'm very thankful for. They didn't have to put anything on my eye that was cold. I was expecting from videos I watched that it was going to be like a can opener, but thankfully it wasn't. Still, it took 3 attempts for the doctor to put the suction on my right eye, which was the first eye that they were cutting. At that point, there wasn't any sort of frustration from the doctor when he spoke to me after the second failed attempt. But he said there was another option. It was cheaper, but it was a longer healing process. And I basically said, no, just get it done with, and I'll be fine. So he did it. He cut both corneas, leaving a slight fraction of the circle that he made uncut, so it allowed my that's pretty cool. I like that right there on its own little island. And they basically said it was the worst was over. we were able to cut cleanly, and from here it should be smooth sailing. Unfortunately, that was a lie, in my opinion, because the next part was having to peel back the cornea flap that they made, and because I have such a thick corneal wall, which made me an excellent candidate for the surgery, it was very uncomfortable to get my cornea removed like that. But at the point that they were removing the cornea, they slid a rod under my eye to help lift the flap, because that's the only way they could really do it. And, nope, more cool. That's what I need. My vision was coming in and out because the cornea is the first piece that your eye takes in light from. So it's the refractive part of your eye. It helps bend the light to make it viewable. But as soon as they started tugging at it, not only was it putting pressure on my eye, which didn't hurt, nothing about the surgery hurt, mind you, but it was the fact that it was uncomfortable and that it was changing my vision ever so. My eyes had to be open, and I had to be awake for the surgery if I did not make that clear already. And eventually they took it off, and they did each eye individually, and eventually all I could see was fuzz. It was fuzz because the part of my eye that refracts light was not there at all. So give me 1 second. I'm just gonna move my entire system, my laptop, to the side here, so I can lay down. Long day at work has caused my legs to become sore, so I'm just gonna lay down and relax for this recorded round as I talk about it. Hard to focus because my legs were starting to cramp. I sit crisscross on my bed. That scared me. And yeah, so it takes about 45 seconds for them to do what they have to do. And what they do is, as soon as they take off that top layer of tissue, the cornea, they're able to access the tissue up right under the cornea, which is the true refractive element of the eye. And that refractive element triangulates to the back of the cornea, to the back of the retina, to the back of the eye, the retina. And depending on if the eye is too elongated or too short, too elongated, which means instead of a perfect circle, it's more of an oval, sort of like squished from the top and the bottom, or it's too short, which means it's squished from the front to the back. That can cause vision loss, which is what I had. I had extreme vision loss. I was almost legally blind. It was a matter of, how far down am I? I am way far down. Okay, we're gonna just do some roller coastering. And it was a matter of, what's what I'm looking for? I couldn't see about 6 inches from my face. Anything 6 inches or further from my face was blurry, so you can understand that my vision was extremely poor. So they did the surgery. They replaced the flap of tissue back over my eye. All the while, they had to hold my eye open with a clasp, because that's how the surgery works. If you close your eye, the laser is more than likely going to burn your eyelids. It is not a laser to mess with because it does burn tissue off, mind you. And it's just incredible, the results that come of it. Your eyes are obviously traumatized. Is that lava? No. I thought I saw lava particles. Huge trauma to my eyes. It's to be expected. My eyes pretty much shut on their own. They told me to go to bed, get some rest. They gave me special sunglasses and special protective shields so I wouldn't rub my eyes. If you rub your eyes, it's very likely that you're going to damage the cornea that they just replaced. The cornea is very fragile. A few days after they replace it, they gave me steroids and an antibiotic eye drops. And about 4 hours after surgery, after I got home, after I woke up from a nap, they instructed that I keep the shields on and I just go back to bed after getting some eye drops in. I decided to go against that, against their judgment, just because I wanted to see what my eyes were capable of. And about, I would say, yeah, I said 4 hours. 4 hours after the surgery, I woke up, I went out into the living room just to get my eyes adjusted to light, because your eyes are extremely sensitive to light after surgery like that. As I've learned, my eyes are still sensitive, and it's been about almost 2 months to this point. It's where, if it's very bright out, I have to wear sunglasses. I still have the special sunglasses they gave me the day of the surgery. They're actually very nice sunglasses, extra polarized. I'm just gonna start cooking here. Alright. I guess we'll go this way. So, 4 hours after the surgery, woke up, got my eyes adjusted to light. Even at that point, even the dimmest of artificial light, like a lamp, from a distance, was not painful, but it was very uncomfortable to look at. But I managed to struggle to get my eyes open. Vision was extremely fuzzy because anywhere that had any source of light, even like a digital clock on my cable box, I could not look at it and see it clearly. But anything that had no artificial light source or natural light source, I could see well. And it took about 2 days for me to fully get my vision together, which is fine because up until that, I could stop that. What am I doing? Okay, you know what? Fuck off. But up until that point, I was able to see just fine. There was no harm or any sort of disadvantage to me. But as it stands, my eyes are currently 20/20 in my right eye and 20/25 in my left eye. My left eye has not, as of the last appointment that I had, which was nearly a month ago at this point, I did not have perfect vision in my left eye. That's because my left eye was the more difficult of the two. My left eye always had worser vision than the right eye, and so the surgery itself maybe was not done to the proper standards. As it stands right now, the doctor is satisfied, but if I return and my vision has not improved or has degraded to some extent, they will more than likely do the surgery again. So it's something to keep in mind for myself that I might have to go through that surgery again, which is not something I'd be looking forward to. But at the same time, I would not mind in the least, especially with the cost of the surgery itself, along with, just having to deal with poor vision in my left eye. It's hardly noticeable. I mean, I can look around my room as I'm sitting in my room right now and say, yeah, I can see everything pretty clearly. I can read the diploma on my wall for my EMT schooling. I can read the poster for baseball that I have up. I can read the book titles, the bookends of the books I have on my shelves. So it's not anything horrible. 20/25 is still great compared to what I had. But it's at the same time, it's we can start digging down here. Yeah. At the same time, it's incredible to me. So, I'm very happy I went through with it. I'm happy I don't have to wear glasses anymore. That I don't have to keep cleaning them. I don't have to put them away when I go to bed. I don't have to keep my thoughts on them when I do certain activities or when I go certain places that I have to bring a spare wherever if I travel long distances. And yeah, it's a miracle in my opinion. It's just beautiful that I'm able to have the vision I never really had in my childhood nor my adult life. I can have it back. Big iron vein right here. And perfect timing, I suppose. That's the end of episode 1. Next episode, I guess we'll talk about my new job. See you then.